Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order at 11. Oh, what? 11:03. Okay, we'll go to 2, adoption of the agenda.
That West Elgin Council hereby adopts the agenda as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor Tellier and Councillor Navakis. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Disclosure of any pecuniary interest? If not now, at the time. And we go to number 4, discussion, West Elgin funding requirements. And we'll start off from there, shall we? Right. What this meeting is about is Mr. Rob Flack and some of his staff are coming on Tuesday to the county at 11 o'clock. And they sort of want to know what each municipality's asks are within reason. So I'm going to get an opportunity, or Magna, if she comes with me, that we stand up and say what West Elgin is needing the most. And we'll go through the 7 municipalities, and then there comes some sort of conclusion at the finish. At least he knows what we're asking for and the reason that we're asking. You know, and I know that there's some important things, you know, like we're just talking about our stormwater. And, you know, how can we put subdivisions and stuff in if our stormwater can't take it now? You know, I mean, there's a lot more tarmac, a lot more, everything's more runoff than what it used to be years ago. And now when we get a major flood, everybody's in trouble. So we've had the impact study done, and I think it's time to talk about it and see if we can put West Elgin and Rodney in a safer position. So if there's anybody that would like to carry on from there, I'd appreciate it. Yes.
I guess my ask would be, and I know AMO is looking at this, but the biggest ask for me as the counselor would be a relooking at the funding model and the transfer payments. And as silly as it sounds, I would like a return to 2016 levels of funding, and I would like inflation to be included in that. That every year we face various different priorities. So for us just to ask for one thing, it may change next year. And we as rural municipalities are constantly working with less and less money from the province. So I think that would be my first one. And then I think the second one is that in our Housing First that we've put forward in the province, we haven't done a good job at looking at rural communities. And we haven't really done a great job at looking at seniors housing and how that will affect the model. And we need funding for both. And it does come down to the infrastructure to then build those houses. Those are
they're all tied in together, really, aren't they?
They are all tied in. And I think what I increasingly dislike is that staff and counselors are forced to go to both levels of government looking for grants to do some of the basics. And it's been shown year over year, not only are we getting less money, but we're downloading way more onto the municipal level of government. So even this exercise, I appreciate Rob coming and asking us what we're looking for, but if you were funding us properly, we wouldn't be having these meetings where we're holding our hands out, begging them to help us put in the infrastructure needed for growth that we need for tax dollars.
Yeah, well, you know, when you look at some of the municipalities, you know, you look at St. Thomas and you see how many millions and millions of dollars are going into it. And you look at London and look what they're putting into it. And then you look at maybe Southold, you know, the benefits they've got now with Amazon and the tax base they've got coming in there is unbelievable. And now the new roads, and they're going to be impacted with the battery factory also. So it looks like just poor old West Elgin stuck on the side. It is sort of a forgotten entity, and it's about time that people looked at it in a realistic way.
And through the chair, I would argue that without the infrastructure funding we need, we can't even be trying to compete for these big industries that
No,
would change,
I
because we
absolutely-
can't support them if they were to want to.
I absolutely agree. All I'm trying to do is to say we are a little municipality. We are on the map, and we do care, and we do need some help. That was my main ask. Has anybody else got anything they'd like to talk about?
Bill does.
Pardon?
Bill does.
Oh, go on, Bill. Or Councillor Denning?
Thank you. And so through the chair, when your worship called to kind of let us know that this meeting was coming up, you asked us to kind of start thinking about this. So my thoughts are this. This invitation to the 7 mayors, this is not about us. This is not about our municipality or any of the other 6 municipalities. This is about the provincial government trying to build goodwill. So in order to help them look good, we need to be very strategic about what it is that we're asking for. There's lots of different things we need, but in my opinion, it would be it'd be smart to have a conversation ahead of time with the other 6 mayors so that you can all go into this meeting finding that one collective issue that we all have, so that the provincial government can then essentially consider this, and then instead of writing 7 little checks that hardly makes the paper, they have the ability to write one big fat check that will definitely build goodwill. So whether the issue that's collective is infrastructure or transfers or whatever the case may be, finding that one thing might be a way to make this exercise actually something that'll benefit us.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do, Councillor Denning, is they're trying to call it Elgin County. It's like you said, it's not so much West Elgin, but we put 7 municipalities together. We have a bigger voice and a bigger ask, and so it looks better on the government. So when you bring all the mayors together and they bring all their wants, then you're talking of something completely different. I mean, I know that I think Southold are asking around 26,000 for extension on sewerage works and things like that. But I mean, when it's all put together, the ask is going to be huge. But it's Elgin County we're talking about. Yes. Deputy Mayor.
Through the chair. So great ideas from Councillor Day and Councillor Novakis. I'm worried that if we don't have a specific actual building that we name or actual project that we name, that is just going to be kind of an umbrella term. So infrastructure umbrella term. If we don't say we need infrastructure on Walker Street, which we know we need to do that in the future. If we don't name an actual project, that it's just going to be kind of, like I said, an umbrella term. In the past, we know our municipality best. South Wales knows theirs, Malahide, they all know theirs best. And so when Councillor Backus, Councillor Denny are saying when the money has filtered down before in the past, we made those decisions because we, as I said, know our municipality best and where those monies would be allotted through our treasurer and our CAO and our council and our residents, where they would be best used, and our operating managers where they'd be best used. So I'm just a little worried if we don't have, once again, to reiterate, an actual project named, that maybe that won't happen.
Well, the stormwater is a huge one.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking. That's top of mind for me as well as stormwater.
You know,
Yes, it is a hand in hand with the change in climate, everything going on. But yes, some of it's old and it needs to be replaced and needs to be looked at.
and you know it's humanly impossible to be able to do it through the municipality because it would put our taxes up too high.
110%. And then other people who aren't having the problem would say, have excuses or whatever the case may be.
So obviously it's a good ask. Yeah. Is there anyone else that's got a, Rob, have you got, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, definitely the infrastructure, I've seen that over the years when growth really kicked in, 2014, 2015, and you started seeing communities grow, it really started to strain their infrastructure. And I think, Councillor Tellier's got a good point, is each municipality knows what it needs, but that bigger ask is infrastructure. It's infrastructure. Okay, Southwold needs this, Central Elgin needs that, West Elgin needs stormwater management. And, to frame it to the provincial government that, the money's for infrastructure support. We'll make the decision on where it goes, where it's best put, but we just need more funding in that infrastructure aspect, because I can tell you, obviously over the last year and a half, I've seen the projects that have been sort of sitting in the wings for many years that are now starting to play out, now starting to come forward. We're seeing the development, we're seeing the little projects on Ridge and Furnival and all these little projects starting. Those will start to add up, and those are going to start to test certain things. Council's heard the stormwater issue. We had a 10-lot subdivision. I never thought a 10-lot subdivision would generate so much concern, but that really highlighted that. And that has been probably the number one thing that I've heard in every single development. Doesn't matter whether it's Tim Hortons or it's a single house between two existing houses. Stormwater management is the concern. And if no matter what we do or what we say to residents, saying, they have a plan, that it's all controlled, unless they see improvements in the circumstances today, like my basement doesn't flood, my yard doesn't flood, unless they see those results, and those results are gained through, the stormwater project is, putting more pipe in the ground to get it where it needs to go. So that, I think that's, and that's, it doesn't matter whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial development, that's necessary. If the province is willing to, give the county the money, and then each individual municipality can allot it in the direction that they see fit, that I think is, hopefully they don't need, that exact project from each individual. It's sort of like, no, we're willing to trust you to give you the money to spend on the infrastructure that you're in need of, regardless of what that is and where you're putting it. But
I think, MPP Flack, through Roma and through different delegations, that, so many people have gone to him, and that's why he's turned around and said, look, I'll come and talk to you, because just a lot of pressure on him, to be honest with you. And that's why he's coming next Tuesday. We say, well, let's listen to what you really do want then, because people's pulling him up. He's an easy guy to talk to. They're pulling him up in the hallways and having delegations. So he says, okay, then we're looking at Elgin County. Let's all get together and we'll talk about it. Have you got anything that's really, well, there'll be things that's pressing. I know that we haven't even thought about.
Well, through the chair, I think just to, go off of what Robert said, I would be hesitant to start trying to pick individual projects.
Yeah.
It kind of ties our hands. Number one, that you've asked for it, so now that money has to be spent on that. Even though something maybe more pressing has come up. Number two, it's kind of the old adage where, you sell your car and you ask so much and they say, well, I would have given you twice as much, right? So if we put a specific dollar figure on it for a specific project, then, you know, are we shooting ourselves in the foot right off the bat? So I think the idea behind, I think infrastructure is something that every community in Elgin needs. And infrastructure can be a broad term, but it also is something that would satisfy Councillor Denning's theory of all, you know, it's a joint message from every municipality, right? If we all go to them, we may have, it may be different components of that infrastructure, but if we go to them, everyone goes to them with that message that we need the money to upgrade our infrastructure to solve problems that we have currently and to make sure that we have the ability to grow when that, you know, door opens for us. And whether that's residential growth or whether that's commercial industrial growth, you know, we need to be ready for that. So.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. Yes, Councillor Nabakis.
Through the chair. I'm a skeptic when it comes to politics, so I would say it's not coincidental that he's meeting with you after the policy convention that is this weekend. I find that when governments announce their policy, that's usually where the funding kind of falls. I'd be curious to see this weekend what the provincial Conservative policy convention is doing. We're 2 years out from an election, so this is going to be the start of them running. So I think if we don't see things such as funding for infrastructure or housing indicated in this, then perhaps we should be looking at our ask differently. Because they're going to tell us where they're going to go anyways. So if they aren't bringing up in this policy that they want to look at more funding for municipalities or rural towns, this could just be a sister kiss from Rob Flack saying, come and tell me what you want. And so not to put it in, but if they announce certain initiatives, so infrastructure for housing, then I think we ask for infrastructure for housing. If they say tourism, then perhaps we're looking at our arena for funding or the down at the marina. I think it's a hard one. I'm not saying like I think everyone is going to go in the infrastructure, and that arguably is where I am. It's just, it's awfully coincidental that we're coming out of their big policy announcement this weekend, and he's choosing to meet with you after. So I think he knows exactly what he's going to be funding and how much there is. And so this may just be
Right.
a
As
sister
regards
kiss,
West
as they say.
Elgin, infrastructure is major, isn't it? Absolutely. I mean, stopping growth, it's doing everything, you know what I mean? So we can't really move forward until we got that in the right perspective.
And unless it comes up in their, like in.
No,
this
that's right.
weekend, Then.
Yeah.
So, sorry, through the chair, if they say senior housing, then perhaps that should be our ask by paying attention to where their initiatives are, right? Because Rob is going to want to make sure that he is towing party line for initiatives for funding for the county.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, through the chair. So just to comment on Councillor Dennings, I think based on what I'm hearing, infrastructure is going to be common denominator in those discussions. For us, the easiest thing would be to mention stormwater management. And the reason for it is because we have, you know, opinion at our hands. We know what it's going to cost us, and we know what needs to be done. So pretty much we're ready. All we need is just the money. So it would be like very easy, you know, to sell it. With more housing, with senior housing, yes, there is deficiency, and we can certainly put that on our list as well. But everything is dependent on stormwater management, right? We can't add more homes if one problem is not fixed. And very good point, more money from the province. Absolutely. OMPF funding is a prime example. Like every year we get less and less money from the province. So there's not much time till Tuesday. So I guess the idea is to communicate with you through email and basically share ideas and then, you know, if you have any comments or if you would like to add anything, by all means, let me know.
So we can come up with a specific ask, you know, and not to, something like that anyway.
Mhm.
You know, we don't want to stand up, either me or Magda, and then, no, we need to know what we're talking about really. And obviously, like infrastructure, I mean, it's quite easy to talk about. You know, we can't go forward without it, really. I mean, we got lots of houses that we need to build, you know, and I keep going on about the battery factory. But, you know, unless we get more infrastructure here and more building, and they're going to pinch a lot of our labor, our factories down the road are going to have no one to work them anymore.
Mhm.
Because when the battery, their wage is going to supersede these ones, I can tell you. So where people they're going to jump on a bus and off they go to St. Thomas. And our little factories that have been here for years are going to struggle. So we need houses, we need jobs. That's the way I feel.
So far we have 3 good items on
Yeah.
our list, and I think that's.
And through the chair, so we can email. I think what we're going to see is they're going to come up with their initiatives, right? And they're gonna tell us. So if we see those, we should make sure that we have
Something,
items for what those are, because if he comes in and says, we're not talking infrastructure, right?
Mhm.
These are our key initiatives this year for the provincial conservative government. I just want to make sure that, because it's all a game, right? We're getting ready to run again, so
'Cause, yeah.
make sure that we.
I'll go outside and have a coffee while you talk about infrastructure. You
Right,
know,
but no,
because
but like you never know, right? Like maybe he's not here to talk about infrastructure, and if that's the only thing we ask for, and then everybody else comes up like, I'll take any money we can get. I just want to make sure that we're playing in that lane, and every year grants are the same. Everybody kind of moves. And you try to figure out how to write your grants the way it hits their political agenda. I just would like to make sure that we have a couple of ideas under there that we can be asking for.
Yes, definitely.
Through the chair, Councillor Novakis, it's a great point, because I'm just thinking back to the last election. It was all talk about infrastructure and daycare spaces. So we went with an ask with daycare spaces to Mr. Lecce. And now we've got 2 daycares in our area. And we got that ask leading up to an election when that's what their initiative was, to have that be part of their platform, among other things. But that was something we needed. That was our ask, and that's now become a reality. And West Lorne at St. Mary's and at Aldeboro and Rodney. So I think she's right that we should funnel our ask to what their
Actually-
platform is.
Yeah, I agree with that. But you know, one thing leads to another. So if we're lucky enough to get the stormwater and everything right, and you get subdivisions come in, then have we got the schooling and have we got the daycare? You know, I mean, it just goes on and on and on in a great list.
Through the chair, I think infrastructure will be one because, well, everybody's growing, and the big message from this party that's in power right now, that's leading us in Ontario, is that we're growing. It's the place that people want to live, the place that people want to work, play. So I think infrastructure would be one. So I think that's a great point to have, and the other 2 we have as well. So
I do too.
I think we've tidied that up a little bit, but maybe just fine tuning it towards Tuesday would be a great idea as well, as everyone shared around the table.
Councillor Denning, have you got anything else that you'd like to say?
No, I think we've encompassed our feelings on this and our needs, but also applying a little bit of strategy to this as well. So I think that hopefully you have a little more of an appreciation for what council's feeling on this, Mr. Mayor. But I think we seem to be all singing from the same song sheet here.
Yeah, I do, and I think when Terry puts it all together in a professional way, which I know she will, it'll come out quite well. So I don't know Is there anything else that we can talk about right now that we've missed? You know, there's lots of asks, but I mean, they're not really important to what we've been talking about. You know, for the future of West Elgin, we have to look at something that we've been talking about. Otherwise, it's gonna come to a shuddering stop. So really, I can't see much, no reason to carry this on. If anybody gets any further information, we'd be glad to hear it and add it if need be. So with that, I think we will bring this meeting towards a close. Okay, so we went to the number 4, the discussion of West Elgin funding requirements. Yeah, the confirming bylaw. 2024-10. Can I have the recommendation, please?
That bylaw 2024-10 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the special meeting of council held on January 31st, 2024 be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor Telly. Seconder. Councillor Navakis. All in favour? That's carried. So that brings us to adjournment. You would do the recommendation, please?
That West Elgin Council adjourn the special meeting of council January 31st, 2024 at 11:29 a.m. to meet again at 4:00 p.m. on Thursday, February 8th, 2024, or at the call of the chair.
Thank you. Mover, please. Councillor Navakis. Seconded. Councillor Denning. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. We're adjourned. Thanks, Bill, for coming on.
Thanks so much, everybody.